You know, tomorrow actually is the 50th anniversary of the March on Selma. And among the most prominent of the marchers was Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel of blessed memory. And he said, for many of us, the march from Selma to Montgomery was about protest and prayer. Legs are not lips, and walking is not kneeling, and yet our legs uttered songs. Even without words, our march was worship. I felt my legs were praying. So tonight we're going to omit the reading of the scroll of the Torah and have in its place what I would call the Torah of social justice, the Torah of Jewish self-respect, the Torah of unflagging support and love for Medinat Yisrael, for the state of Israel. And so it is my pleasure to introduce to some and reintroduce to many of us our own Becky Sebo. Becky will graduate in May from Ohio University with a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance Performance and Choreography. She also spent a semester at Hebrew University in the Study Abroad program at the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance. She was president of, I think still is president of Bobcats for Israel at Ohio University, the Campus Pro-Israel Advocacy Organization, and secretary of the Mortarboard Senior Honor Society. She has received a number of fellowships, and some in particular reflecting her outstanding and widely recognized and courageous advocacy for Israel on her campus and throughout the country. She was chosen as a Green Spoon Morningstar Fellow, one of 50 from the United States, to meet and have an elite Israel advocacy experience and then to serve on their college campus by creating a pro-Israel community and coalitions between organizations. She was just at the AIPAC Policy Conference with so many of the rest of us from the temple, where she was invited to a select meeting with Lynn Schusterman and her daughter Stacy from the Schusterman Foundation in recognition of her courageous and outspoken leadership. And so I am very pleased to welcome back to our bima the Rosa Parks of Campus Pro-Israel Advocacy, Becky Sebo. Feel free to give her a hand.
Shabbat Shalom. Sitting on my bedroom floor in Cleveland this past summer, I slowly started to pack my essential belongings into my suitcase. The next day, I would be moving back to my house in Athens, Ohio, to begin my senior year as a dance major at Ohio University. I travel quite often, so packing shouldn't have been hard, but my logic told me that if I packed slowly, maybe my senior year wouldn't go so fast, and I would have more time to enjoy my final year of surreal life that only a college student can understand. Everything started wonderfully in Athens. I was returning with many responsibilities. I'm secretary of Mortarboard, the National Senior Honor Society, fundraiser for the Movement Organization, and most importantly, I am president of Bobcats for Israel. I had a long list of events and activities to involve our students in the pro-Israel community. We gained over 100 members during the involvement fair and did not face any criticism for being an organization on campus. Fast forward to Tuesday, September 2nd, the second week of classes. As I finished the annual audition for the senior dance concert, I received a text from a friend who worked for the school newspaper, The Post. "I'm assuming you've seen the video," she wrote. I responded, "What video? Can you send it to me?" Just by seeing the link's title, my stomach dropped. It read, "Bucket Challenge, Ohio U divest from Israel." I looked at my classmates and said, "I'm sorry, I need to go. Something just happened that is going to affect my entire semester." Little did I know then that moment would affect maybe the rest of my life. Megan Marzek, Student Senate President at Ohio University, released this video where she dumps a bucket of fake blood on herself while asking the students to boycott Israel. If I told you I was calm, cool, and collected when I saw this, I'd be lying. In the simplest of terms, I freaked out. I called my mom, my fellow Israel campus leaders around the country, and I panicked for about 30 minutes. Before returning to Athens, I was bragging to my pro-Israel friends about how great Ohio University was, and in an instant, that all changed. Once I caught my breath, I started to return the phone calls and emails from the press. The following day, members of AE Pi, Sigma Kappa, students from Hillel and from Bobcats for Israel went to the Student Senate meeting to formally ask Megan Marzek to resign from her role as president for using her position of power to fulfill her personal agenda and for speaking on behalf of students who did not agree with her extreme accusations of Israel. It was clear she had no intention of resigning, and the other members of Senate had no interest in pressuring her to apologize. After we left the Senate meeting, we wondered what we could do to make it clear to the university that BDS, boycotts, divestments, and sanctions against Israel, would not be tolerated at Ohio University. BDS began its campaign a few years ago by the group Students for Justice in Palestine. Their anti-Israel stance is unjustified hatred for Jewish people. It would be terrifying and detrimental to our campus if a BDS resolution passed, like it has at so many other schools around the country, and like it just did this past Tuesday at the University of Toledo, the first Ohio campus with a BDS resolution. The students and I decided on reading a collection of statements at the next Student Senate meeting from other university presidents around the country on why they refused to boycott Israel, a simple plan that had been done before at these meetings for various causes and issues. On Wednesday, September 10th, at the Student Senate meeting, I read from a paper. Students began shouting for me to stop, calling me a bully, a Nazi, and a fascist. Professors were screaming. Students were pounding on the tables. I felt as if I were in a nightmare. I felt as if I were transported in time to a different decade where it was a crime to be Jewish. What was happening? This was Ohio University, a place I have called my home for 4 years now, a place I have always felt comfortable being Jewish and being pro-Israel, somewhere I was proud to call myself a Bobcat. The next thing I know, a man is telling me I have 30 seconds to stop speaking. So I finished my sentence and I put my paper down. My wrists were taken behind me. Confused, I looked at the officer and said, "But I stopped speaking." He began escorting me out of the room past fellow pro-Israel students who were attending the meeting. My eyes locked with a friend and fellow Clevelander named Morgan. She looked horrified, like she was about to cry. And all I could say to her was, "Hey, could you get my phone?" Let me tell you, I have been grounded before. I was nowhere near a perfect child growing up. Sitting in the back of a police car, my hands cuffed behind my back, all I could think was, my mom is going to kill me. It turns out that when she found out what had happened, which was almost instantly because my little brother David worked for the school newspaper, she argued that I got this trait from her side of the family. 3 other students were arrested that night. After I was removed from the room, my brave friends started reading from the same paper. 2 of them, Max Peltz and Jonah Eulish, are also Clevelanders, and all 3 of us are Camp Wise alums. We were taken to the police station and released about an hour later on the condition we would not return to the Student Senate meeting that night. We had been charged with a 4th-degree misdemeanor, which has a maximum sentence of 30 days in jail and a $250 fine. The 4 of us put in a plea of not guilty, and as of this morning, those charges have been dismissed by Judge Grimm of Athens Municipal Court. Where does that leave us now? We still have a majority in the Student Senate that supports their president's decisions and a university administration that is clearly weak. What do the pro-Israel students do now? We continue. We follow the examples given to us throughout Jewish history. Has there been a time when we have given up? Has there been a time when we were being persecuted and we did not fight to survive? These anti-Israel students want us to fear them. They want me to give up on educating Ohio University students on the truth of what is happening in the Middle East. These students who have never been to Israel are hungry for human rights violations to become an activist for. The issue is they have done little to zero research. I will not leave or transfer from Ohio University because they want to defeat us. We will not run away because something unfair and unjust happened to the Jewish people, the people of Israel, again. We are standing our ground. We are programming events, we are bringing in speakers, and we are reaching out to the community. Thanks to generous donations from the Cleveland community, next week we are bringing in the director of the Sderot Media Center, Noam Bedin, to speak to photojournalism students, and we are holding mock Israeli elections for students to participate in. My senior year has not been going slow like I planned. It has been flying by. Dance has given me so much guidance in my college career, and I am extremely passionate about choreography and movement. I have realized, though, I have another calling in life: Israel advocacy and education. Since the incident in September, I have attended a Stand With Us conference in Los Angeles, traveled to Israel with Hasbara fellowships, met the former president of Israel, Shimon Peres, attended AIPAC's policy conference, and in 2 weeks I'll be traveling back to LA for an anti-BDS conference. While my story has gained international attention, I like to think of myself as a normal 23-year-old. I like music, Twitter, cheesy reality shows like The Bachelor. The finale is on Monday at 9 p.m. if you want to watch, and hanging out with my friends. Standing up for Israel is not a special talent I was born with. It is how my Cleveland community raised me. I will not remain silent when it comes to defending my identity, my culture, and my country, Israel. Thank you.